the man who sold the Brooklyn Bridge. New York City is home to many famous landmarks, but perhaps the most famous is the Brooklyn Bridge. It is a massive, beautiful suspension bridge made of stone and steel cables that stretches over the East River. Every single day, thousands of cars, bikes, and people walk across it to travel between Brooklyn and Manhattan. But over 100 years ago, a smooth-talking trickster named George C. Parker made a living by secretly selling it. George was incredibly charming and knew exactly how to make a ridiculous lie sound like the absolute truth. George would dress up in very expensive clothes and walk around the bridge looking for wealthy tourists. When he spotted someone who looked lost or amazed by the giant structure, he would kindly approach them. George would pretend to be the wealthy owner of the Brooklyn Bridge and claim he was tired of running it. He told the tourists that if they bought the bridge from him, they could set up a toll booth and charge everyone who crossed. The greedy tourists would get so excited about making endless money that they completely believed his crazy story. To make his lie perfect, George created fake, official-looking government documents and land deeds in a secret office. He would take the tourists to his office, sign the fake papers, and take massive amounts of their cash. Once the tourists paid him, George would completely disappear into the crowded streets of New York City. The next day, the excited tourists would proudly march onto the bridge and try to build their new toll booths, but very quickly, real police officers would arrive and have to explain that they had been tricked by a famous con man. Selling the Brooklyn Bridge was George's favorite trick, and he actually did it several times a week for years. Some people paid him just a few $100s, but others paid him thousands in cash for the giant bridge. But George didn't just stop at the bridge. He loved trying to secretly sell other massive monuments. He once set up a fake office and successfully sold the world-famous Madison Square Garden to an innocent buyer. George would sell almost any building he walked past if he thought he could trick a wealthy tourist. One time, George even managed to sell the Statue of Liberty to a man who thought he was getting a great deal. Another time, he convinced someone to buy the Metropolitan Museum of Art. One of the biggest museums in the world. George was extremely clever and managed to escape the police for a very long time by constantly changing his disguises. He thought his tricks were hilarious, and he loved seeing how far he could stretch a completely unbelievable lie. But eventually, George's massive tricks caught up to him, and the police finally figured out his secret identity. They surrounded him while he was trying to pull off another massive real estate scam and arrested him. The judge told George that he could no longer keep selling the city's most famous public monuments to strangers. George was sent to an escape-proof prison called Sing Sing, where he would have to spend the rest of his life. Even in prison, he was extremely popular because all the other prisoners thought his unbelievable stories were amazing. Because of George C. Parker, people actually invented a famous American joke that is still used today. If someone tells a lie that is completely unbelievable, people will say, "If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you." The massive Brooklyn Bridge still stands perfectly strong today, and no tourist has tried to build a toll booth on it for a very long time. It remains completely free for anyone to walk across and enjoy the beautiful views of the giant city. But George's ridiculous trick will always be remembered as one of the wildest stunts in history. Glossary: landmarks, an object or feature of a landscape or town that is easily seen and recognized. Suspension bridge, a bridge in which the deck is hung below suspension cables. Trickster, a person who deceives or cheats people. Charming, very pleasant or attractive in personality. Ridiculous, extremely silly or unreasonable. Tourists, people who travel to visit a place for pleasure. Structure, a building or other object constructed from several parts. Toll booth, a small building where you pay money to use a bridge or road. Greedy, having a selfish desire for more of something, especially money. Deeds, legal documents that show who owns a piece of property or land. Glossary continued. Disappear, to become impossible to see or find. Con man, a person who cheats or tricks others by gaining their trust. Monuments, a statue, building or structure built to remember a famous person or event. Innocent, not guilty of a crime, or lacking experience and easily tricked. Disguises, clothes, or changes in appearance used to hide someone's true identity. Hilarious, extremely funny, or amusing. Scam, a dishonest plan for making money. Ident be, who a person is, or the qualities that make them different from others. Prisoners, people kept in a prison as a punishment for a crime. Stunts, an unusual or difficult feat requiring great skill or daring.